Hello everybody, it is Tuesday and that means it is Facebook Live time, so some free paper crafting with Jo. Come on in, we're going to be making a great Christmas card. It's got a peek through card and it's a wreath card. So if you love Christmas wreaths, and I do love Christmas wreaths, then this is a great card. And I'm going to show you 3 different ways that you can make it. So you want to stick around to the end to see those other 2 ways. So we are going to be doing a peek through card. So we're going to be using the dies and we're going to be using a stamp set. Now I have a different a different bundle that I've used in my sample card, but I asked the VIPs which ones they wanted to play with, and they wanted to play with the cottage wreaths. So this set has been around for a little bit. It's available, the stamp sale, stamp set, and the dies are separate. I have used this a lot. What I like about this one is that we get a lot of different seasons out of it. So we get Halloween, we get fall, we get Merry Christmas, but you can have wreaths for all the rest of the year too. How many of you put wreaths on your door? Every time, all different times. So Easter, you put a wreath out. Summer, we put a different wreath out. If there's a birthday celebration, you put a wreath out. It looks like maybe we'll just go with the leaf wreath. Okay, so I did pre-think, you guys, and I have the leaf wreath already cut out. And what cuts that one out is this guy right here. Okay, so this will go around the leaf wreath once we have it stamped, and we might pull those dies in again in just a little bit. And we are going to just take our embossing buddy, which is little bits of plastic. Sandrak is sort of what it is in there. And we're just going to go all over. And the reason for doing that is we don't want all the little extra specks of embossing powder to stick everywhere else. Okay, so we're just going to ink up our wreath. And because this wreath is bigger than my stamp pad in size, I'm going to turn my wreath upside down and I'm going to hold it with my finger because this is a pretty sticky stamp pad. So you've got to be careful. If we don't hold it, we'll pick it up and then drop it, and it might drop it right on your paper, and you don't want that. So I'm going to close that off. I'm going to put this in the middle, what I think is close to the middle. And I'm going to give it a pretty good impression. Then I'm going to have to hold on to my paper as well because it's sticky ink again. Okay, and we get a really nice tone on tone, but we're not going to use the tone on tone today. We're instead going to use gold embossing powder, and we're going to put it all over that wreath. Give it a little bit of a flick at the back, not too hard. And then because we use the embossing buddy, I actually don't see any little specks of gold anywhere. So I'm going to put this off to the side. You might need that. Pull out my heat tool. Get it set up on number 2. So the Stampin' Up! Heat tool has 2 settings, 1 and a 2. You use the 1 if you're doing vellum, and you use the 2 for cardstock. Okay, and I'm just going to point it right at the wreath. And as soon as I see that start to turn gold, I'm going to move it. And this is the exciting thing. How many of us remember the very first time we saw heat embossing, right? And we were wowed because it's just beautiful. It's still one of my favorite techniques. And there are lots of different ways that you can use it in your card making, and also lots of ways that you can change it up in your card making. So it makes a beautiful gold shiny surface. Okay, now this is the hardest part of this card, is that we have to now take this and we have to match it up to our wreath. Now, it's a little bit hard to see that wreath, I think, but what I do is I look for the outliers. So I look for these ones. This one here in particular looks a little bit different than any other one. It's sticking out the most. This one here almost could be the one that's sticking out the most to me, and it is. Surprise, surprise. I managed to nail that one okay. And so I'm going to place that right over top. And I'm going to pull in my piece of tape that I use. So hold on, just whoops. just as I should have had one in my hand before I started. Okay, so I'm going to do that again. I am going to place it right over top. And you know that feeling when you get it right in the right spot, it just sort of clicks. That's what happens here too. So I'm just going to take my tape, put on just one piece, and I'm going to pull in my Stampin' Cut and Emboss. So what I have now is it cut out the middle, it cut out the wreath itself, and it left a hole in the card. How you decide what your piece is. You don't want to put a whole great big piece because that would be a waste of your paper. So take your ruler and just sort of measure whatever your opening is. So your wreath might be a different size than this one. And you're going to measure, this one looks, if I go into the blue part and into the blue part, that it's 3 inches that way. And it is, I can get probably by with a 3-inch piece this way. So I'm going to do 3 by 3, put that into my trimmer, and I can move right over to the 3-inch mark here and cut that, put that piece away, and then I'm also going to turn this to 3 inches and do the same thing. Okay, so we can get a lot of cards out of that one piece. This is the side that's going to face us, and this is going to be in behind. So instead of putting your glue on your paper, you're going to put your glue, and I would use liquid glue for this one, and you're going to put it around the outside edge of your piece. Okay, and then we're going to put that right over top. And we're going to let that just dry for a moment. Okay. And that's what that's going to look like. We are going to put this on just with glue, so I can go ahead and do that right now. I'm going to put that on with glue on top of our card. So this is going to be a very elegant card that we're working with today. Okay, so here's the front. We're going to place that right in the middle. And now we're going to put some dimensionals on this one. And now we have to try and get that into the right spot again. So I am looking for that sort of weird one, which is this guy right here, I think. And we're going to place it right over where it came out. So you do want to just sort of place it down sort of lightly at first. And then what we're going to see is you're going to be able to see the white underneath, and that's what we want. Okay, and we have our stars. So now what we need to do is we need to do some words. So we're going to do Oh Holy Night. Where is it here? Oh Holy Night. Let's make sure that it fits. Okay. Oh Holy Night. I think it's just going to fit. So let me put on, we probably should have done this before we put it on. I'm going to get a stamp, a block rather. Now, let's see, I'm going to try and get this this is great because this type of stamp doesn't need to be straight, right? So that's why we love it. Doesn't need to be straight. Put this here. And even if we make a mistake, I'm sure that we can figure out how to cover this up. Okay, Oh Holy Night. I'm just going to move this down. Stand on my tippy toes. Stamp that. So this is a cling stamp, meaning I don't need to have the Stampin' Pierce mat underneath it. We're going to go for that gold again. Well, a big wallop of gold there. Now I have hardly any. Okay, get that all covered. Give it a flick on the back, and then we're going to heat emboss that as well. It's probably a little bit hard to see on the navy, but it is looking pretty good. It would be just stunning probably on the vanilla as well. Okay, so now how about we decorate it up just a little bit? Okay, so this is the Night of Navy gold, and it's glitter ribbon. Okay, and we are going to, I think, either, I don't know, what should we do? Maybe we should just do a little loop of it as opposed to a bow. I think maybe that's a good idea. we're just going to do that because it's so much easier to put on too, right? But it's beautiful ribbon, catches the eye for sure. I'm going to put that on with a glue dot. So I'm going to do it one of two ways. One of two ways? No, I'm going to do two. I'm going to do it with two glue dots. I'm going to put a glue dot right onto the ribbon, first of all, and lift that off. And then I'm going to do my loop. And my loop is going to come around and touch that ribbon. Okay, so that's going to go up here. Now we have to make sure we don't get in our words. Okay, and now I'm going to take another glue dot pretty much in the same place in order to get that onto our wreath. Now I pre-cut some things. So I could have given you the option of this, and I didn't even give you the option, did I? So we could put a ribbon, a bow right over top there, which actually looks sort of pretty. I also have some of these little leaves that I cut out that also come in the set. And we could assemble those down here so that we have a very glitzy kind of wreath. This bow is out of the Cottage Country Wreaths dies. And it is this one right here. So it actually is a detail cut. And then these little leaves, there are 3, which is really nice now that Stampin' Up! Is giving us 3 of something, because then we only have to run them through one time. Okay, so how about we're going to put our glue onto our items first. Move that off to the side. We're going to take a little bit of glue. We're going to put it onto this guy here. And we are going to take a pair of tweezers, which I don't always do, but I have been using them a lot more lately. And I'm going to tuck it in behind here. And tuck it so that it's coming into the wreath. And I'm going to do the same thing with this guy here. So this is how you can sort of fancy something up. Okay, so we started with a very simple kind of design, really, with our wreath there. And now we're going to fancy it up a little bit. I'm going to put, even if it pokes down here a little bit. Whoops, let it go, Joanne. Okay, so now we've got that there. And I think maybe the gold on top of the blue, right? Okay, so I'm going to put a mini dimensional there. And I think it's probably a little bit too big even. So I'm going to cut one and then I'm going to cut it again. So that's just a little tiny piece. Put it there. That's what you want to start out with. And we're going to put him right up. No, you know what? Because we're going on top of that glitter ribbon, a tip for you is to put a little bit of the liquid glue on there first. Okay, so let that sit in place. Now I'm going to do the exact same thing to this one. That's a pretty big piece. Let's see, am I going to see that? Boy, oh boy. I've got 2 left hands today. I know, sorry, for those of you who are lefties, that wasn't nice, was it? And I'm going to place this off center just a little tiny bit. I think maybe the adhesive backs Sparkle Gems, my favorite. These really are my favorite items. Okay, I can't even see where I am now, so hopefully I'm going to put these guys here. Some big ones in there as well. Tuck that guy right in back there. And maybe, should I put that there? No, I think maybe I should put that there. And I think it needs a couple more. And we'll do one more big one. Okay, so needs one over here, I think, just to balance it a little bit better. So we do have a lot of stuff going on with this guy, but we have a beautiful embellishment over here. It is stuck now, and it's got, so this is a card you're going to want to hand deliver or get hand canceled at the post office. See, I'm going to move that so hopefully you can see how pretty it actually is in person. And I think what we should do is put a piece of our paper on the inside. So let's just finish up that. I'm going to pull in our trimmer again, and I'm going to cut off, it's just a 1/2 inch by 3 inch strip. And we're just going to go inside this card, and I'm going to put it there, but I think we need some navy. So let me grab some navy. So there's our navy. So that was a 3 by a 1/2 inch. So I'm going to make this 3 1/4 by 3/4 of an inch. Okay, and it's just going to be a perfect mat for that. I'm just going to hold that and cut that. And we are going to put some liquid glue on here. Thank you, ladies, for coming back. I do realize that that was extremely annoying. Hopefully next week, when I have my new router, we are not going to have any of these problems. Okay, so we are just fancying up the inside of the card just a little bit so that it coordinates with the outside of the card. Okay, so I did put a few gems around there, and we are just going to put, I think, this just down at the bottom. Now, the nice thing about using a vanilla card or a white card is that you can just write in here. You don't have to put another piece in there. Okay, so there is our design. I'm going to hold it so that you can see the shine on it. It is a really beautiful card, and I do like that we use the vanilla in the background. Now, what I want to do is I want to show you 2 other versions of this same card. So this is Wishes All Around. Okay, so a little bit larger wreath on this one, and I used white embossing powder instead of gold like we did today. The greeting is quite different because it's smaller and it can fit off to the side. So, and we only have a bow on this one. Okay, this one we really went to town decorating it up. So there's our second version. Now I want to show you one that is quite a bit different again. So this one here is made with the Granny Apple Green foil paper, and it's also made with the Country Wreaths dies. So let me know which of those 3 is your favorite, because it might be the one that we made today, might be this one because it's different with those trees, or it might be this one because it's just a die and no stamping. Thanks very much, everybody. Have a great paper crafting day. Bye-bye.